My name is Maya Vale, and at 39 I learned that my family had turned my grandmother's last year into a paid timesheet, with my name erased from it. It happened at my mother's 67th birthday brunch inside the Millbrook Senior Center, under a paper banner that said, "Honoring the ones who show up." My sister Kendra stood beside a poster of my late grandma Dot and told 44 people I had abandoned her when the pill boxes and rides became inconvenient. Then she tapped the yellow volunteer badge on her dress and said, "Care is not a punch clock." 15 minutes later, the county aging services director walked in holding a payroll exception report with Kendra's name on it. The first proof was not loud. It was a senior van mileage sheet, a pharmacy pickup signature, and a kitchen calendar kept by Grandma Dot's best friend. But by the time those records reached the county renewal room, my mother's board seat was gone, my sister's new job was gone, and the story this town had believed about me had nowhere left to stand. If you had been in that room and watched your own family clap while someone called you useless, tell me in the comments what you would have done first. I had not been inside the Millbrook Senior Center for 11 months. The last time I walked through those glass doors, I was carrying 2 bags of low-sodium groceries, a pack of crossword books, and the blue canvas pouch Grandma Dot used for her appointment cards. She had embroidered a crooked white bus on the front of it because I worked in transit planning, and she thought that was hilarious. "You make the whole county move," she used to say. I never made the whole county move. I built bus schedules, fixed paratransit gaps, and listened to people explain why a 12-minute delay could ruin a doctor's appointment. It was ordinary work. Dot respected ordinary work more than anyone I knew. The senior center looked the same that Saturday morning. Beige tile, coffee smell, a corkboard full of tie-kai flyers. The little glass case by the entrance still held the old photos from the first Senior Wheels program. There was Dot in 1998, wearing a red sweater and standing beside the first white passenger van they bought with church donations and a county match. My mother, Marla Vale, had arranged the brunch as a birthday party and a legacy celebration for Senior Wheels. That was what the invitation called it. I knew because Leona Price mailed me a copy. Leona was Grandma Dot's best friend. She was 82, sharp as a tack, and too polite to raise her voice unless a person had earned it. She lived 2 doors down from Dot for 37 years and kept a kitchen calendar with every appointment, birthday, casserole delivery, and borrowed ladder written in blue ink. When her envelope arrived at my apartment in Roanoke, she had underlined one sentence on the invitation. "Kendra Vale will be recognized as the incoming care companion coordinator for her dedicated service to the program and to her grandmother, Dorothy Vale." Under it, Leona wrote, "Maya, you should be there for this." That was all. Not "please come," not "I need you." Leona never wasted words when 5 could do the job. I drove 68 miles that morning with Grandma Dot's blue canvas pouch on the passenger seat. Inside it were 3 things I had kept since the week after she died: her last clean appointment card, a pharmacy receipt with my signature on it, and a folded note she had written on the back of a senior center lunch menu. Don't let them turn help into ownership. I did not know then how literal she had been. When I pulled into the senior center parking lot, my mother's silver SUV was parked in the director's spot. Kendra's white crossover was near the front, washed and decorated with a magnetic sign that said, "Kendra Vale, Senior Care Advocate." That was new. The old Senior Wheels van sat near the side entrance. The same dent in the back bumper, the same fading green letters. A new decal had been added to the sliding door. Sponsored by the Vale, family in honor of Dorothy Vale. I sat in my car for a full minute before I got out. The Vale family had not sponsored that van. Grandma Dot had helped raise the first $9,200 for that program, selling ham plates from the church kitchen. I knew because she made me carry the coolers when I was 14. My mother saw me as soon as I stepped inside. She was wearing a pale blue suit and her birthday pearls. She had always been good at looking gentle in public. That was her strongest skill. She could make control look like concern and punishment look like hurt feelings. Her smile froze for half a second. "Maya," she said, "you came." "Leona invited me." Her eyes moved to the blue pouch in my hand, then back to my face. "This is a celebration," she said. That was her warning. Kendra came up behind her with a mimosa and the kind of smile people use when they already know the room is on their side. She was 36, bright, polished, and wearing the yellow volunteer badge Dot used to wear during lunch service. I recognized the badge immediately. It still had the little scratch on the corner from when Dot caught it on the freezer door. "Wow," Kendra said, "you found the road back." A few people heard it. They smiled because they thought it was family teasing. I looked at the badge. That was Grandma's. Kendra touched it lightly. Mom thought I should wear it today, since I was the one who actually carried the work. My mother put a hand on Kendra's shoulder, not to stop her, to display her. "Care is not a punch clock," Mom said, soft enough to sound wise and loud enough for the nearest table to hear. That sentence had been floating around our family for years. The first time my mother used it, I was 28 and late to Thanksgiving because I had spent 2 extra hours fixing a paratransit route after a wheelchair lift failed. I walked in with cold hands and a headache. Mom looked at the clock and said, "Care is not a punch clock, Maya." It meant my work did not count if it was not the work she assigned. The second time, I had driven Dot to a cardiology appointment and logged the time on my phone because the office kept changing her pickup window. Mom saw the note and said it again. "Care is not a punch clock." It meant records were rude when records protected me. The third time was after Dot died, when I asked why no one called me until 6 hours after the hospital discharge that became her last night at home. Mom stood in the hallway of Dot's house and said, "She wanted peace. Care is not a punch clock." It meant I was not allowed to ask for the timeline. At the brunch, I did not answer her. I had learned that some sentences are traps. If you argue with them too early, people remember your tone and forget the facts. I walked past the registration table. There were name tags, donation envelopes, a framed photo of Grandma Dot, and a printed program with my mother's birthday tribute on one side and Kendra's new coordinator announcement on the other. My name was not in it. That should not have surprised me. It still did. Dot raised me more than anyone else did. My father left when I was 6. My mother worked 2 jobs for a while, then married a man named Glenn who believed children should stay quiet and grateful. Kendra learned early that being adorable kept her safe. I learned that Dot's house was where people said what they meant. Dot taught me how to read a bus schedule before I could read a map. She would trace the route with one finger and say, "Every stop is somebody's whole morning. Respect the stop." When she got older and her knees went bad, I became the one who handled the rides. Cardiology, eye clinic, pharmacy, senior lunch, church on the Sundays she felt strong enough. I did not do it perfectly. No one does. I missed one appointment because my car battery died. I got the wrong glucose strips once and had to drive back to the pharmacy after work. I forgot her winter hat on a cold Wednesday, and she wore my knit cap into the clinic, laughing because it made her look like a retired bank robber. But I showed up. For 14 months, I showed up. Then, in the last 3 weeks of her life, my mother and Kendra took over the phone, the door code, the ride forms, and the story. They told me Dot was tired. They told me she did not want visits. They told me the doctor had said stimulation upset her. They told me to stop making it about myself. When Dot died, the obituary said she was lovingly cared for in her final year by her daughter Marla and granddaughter Kendra. I read that line in my apartment at 2:10 in the morning and felt something inside me go still. Not break, still. Breaking is loud. This was quieter. It was the feeling of realizing the people who hurt you had already prepared the public version. Leona called me after the funeral, but I did not answer. I was ashamed, and shame makes every phone feel heavy. She left one message. I know what I saw, Maya. I kept that message. I did not know why. Maybe some part of me knew I would need a voice from that side of the story one day. At the brunch, Leona was sitting at the second table from the front in a green cardigan with a white collar. She had a paper plate with half a blueberry muffin on it and her purse on her lap. When she saw me, she lifted 2 fingers. Not a wave, a signal. Hold steady. So I held steady. People came up to me in careful little waves. Mrs. Daly from the library touched my arm and said, "It must be hard being back." Cal Rivers, who owned the tire shop, asked if I was still doing bus stuff. My stepfather, Glenn, nodded from across the room and did not move any closer. Every conversation had the same shape. People knew something about me, but not from me. They knew I had left. They knew Kendra had stayed. They knew my mother had suffered. They knew Dot had been disappointed at the end. They knew the wrong things very confidently. At 11:25, the Senior Center director, Alma Ortiz, tapped a microphone near the small stage. Alma had run the building for 9 years. She was direct, practical, and allergic to nonsense. She gave my mother a hug, wished her happy birthday, and thanked the guests for supporting Senior Wheels. Then she turned the microphone over to Kendra. Kendra walked to the front with that yellow badge on her chest and a folder in her hand. "I wasn't planning to get emotional," she said, already getting emotional. People smiled. My mother dabbed under one eye with a napkin. I stood in the back by the bulletin board, holding Dot's blue pouch. "Most of you knew my grandmother, Dorothy," Kendra said. "You knew she believed seniors should be able to get to the doctor, to lunch, to church, and to each other. In her last year, when things got hard, our family learned what showing up really means." She looked at me. "Not for long, just enough. Some people talk about helping. Some people build their lives around being busy. And some people stay when the calendar gets ugly." The room made soft, sympathetic sounds. My face stayed still. "That's why I'm honored to step into the Care Companion Coordinator role," she continued. "I want to carry Grandma Dot's spirit forward. She taught us that care is not a punch clock." Applause. My mother put both hands over her heart. Leona did not clap. That was the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed was Alma Ortiz standing near the side door, watching Kendra with her eyebrows pulled together. The third thing I noticed was a man in a gray blazer entering behind her with a county folder under his arm. I knew him. Ben Ito, County Payroll Compliance. I had worked with him twice on transit stipend audits. Ben did not show up to birthday brunches for cake. Kendra kept talking. She talked about sacrifice. She talked about late nights. She talked about Dot's medication schedule as if she had invented pill boxes. She talked about family legacy and service and how seniors deserved people who treated care as love, not administration. Then she said my name. "My sister Maya is here today, and I hope this can be healing. Families are complicated. People leave for reasons they have to live with, but Senior Wheels stayed." It was not a sentence. It was a public verdict. The room got quiet in that strange way rooms do when cruelty arrives wearing a nice outfit. I could feel people looking without turning their heads. My mother closed her eyes like the words hurt her, but also like she approved of everyone. Leona stood up. Slowly. The legs of her chair scraped the tile. Kendra stopped. "Leona," Alma said. Leona picked up her purse and walked toward the front. She did not look at Kendra. She looked at my mother. "Before this goes any further," Leona said, "I think the county people should hear the dates the right way." My mother's face changed. "Just a little." "Enough." Kendra laughed once. "Mrs. Price, this probably isn't the moment." "It is exactly the moment," Leona said. Ben Ito moved closer to Alma. Alma lowered the microphone from its stand and held it at her side. My mother stepped forward. "Leona, this is Marla's birthday," Glenn said from his table. Leona looked at him over her glasses. "Then she can have truth with her eggs." Nobody laughed, not because it was not funny, because the room was trying to decide who was allowed to speak. Alma made the decision. "Mrs. Price," she said, "what dates?" Leona opened her purse and pulled out a spiral kitchen calendar folded in half. It was thick from paper clips and sticky notes. She held it like a hymnal. "Dorothy's appointments," she said. "Meals, ride times, pharmacy pickups, who came, who did not." Kendra's smile tightened. "That's sweet, but we have official records." Ben Ito said, "So do we." Those 3 words shifted the room. Not dramatically, no one gasped, no one jumped up. But a room has weight, and I felt the weight move. Ben opened the county folder. "Ms. Ortiz," he said, "the renewal packet for the care companion coordinator position triggered an exception. We tried to reach you yesterday, but since the appointment is being publicly announced here, the county director asked us to pause the announcement pending review." Kendra's hand went to the yellow badge. "Pause," she said. My mother stepped in fast. "There must be a misunderstanding. Kendra has been through 3 interviews." "Yes," Ben said, "and the hours listed in her service history are the problem." Kendra's face went pink. The first record came from Leona, not the county. She opened the kitchen calendar to March of the previous year and pointed with one thin finger. "March 8, Dorothy cardiology. Maya picked her up at 7:10. Senior Wheels' van was late, so she drove her herself and called Alma about the missed ride. Kendra was in Myrtle Beach. I know because she sent Marla a beach picture and Marla showed me." A few people turned toward Kendra. Kendra said, "One appointment doesn't mean anything." Leona turned a page. "March 12, pharmacy. Maya signed for the blood pressure refill at Garner's Drugs. March 15, lunch delivery. Maya left soup because Dorothy's ankles were swollen. March 19, eye clinic. Maya took leave from work. Dorothy showed me the text." My mother said, "Leona, you are 82. You may be mixing things up." Leona looked at her. "That is why I wrote them down." Alma took the calendar. Her face was careful now, official. "Mr. Ito," she said, "we should not do this in the middle of a party." "I agree," Ben said, "but the appointment should not be announced." Kendra looked at the crowd, then at the poster of Dot, then at me. "Maya always liked records," she said. "She logs everything. That's the problem. Care isn't a punch clock." She said it like a lifeline. It did not hold. Ben looked down at his folder. "The county stipend program is a punch clock," he said. "That is why this is being reviewed." The brunch ended in pieces. Nobody knew whether to leave or stay. Plates got pushed aside. Coffee sat cooling in paper cups. The singer who had been setting up near the piano quietly zipped his case and left through the side door. My mother pulled Alma into the hallway. I could see her hands moving, open palms, hurt face, birthday pearls trembling slightly against her throat. Kendra came toward me. "What did you do?" she whispered. "I came to brunch." "Don't be cute." "I'm not." She stepped closer. I could smell orange perfume and panic. "You think some old woman's calendar changes the fact that you vanished." Leona was behind her before I answered. "I am the old woman," she said, "and yes." Kendra spun around. "Stay out of our family." Leona's face did not change. "Your grandmother was my family before you learned to spell your own name." For 1 second, Kendra looked 12 years old again, furious because someone had corrected her in front of people. Then she recovered. "This is exactly what Grandma hated," she said. "Maya turning care into paperwork." I opened Dot's blue pouch and took out the pharmacy receipt. I did not hold it up. I did not wave it. I just looked at it. Garner's Drugs, May 2, 5:47 p.m. hydrochlorothiazide refill, Dorothy Vale, picked up by Maya Vale. It was ordinary paper, thin, fading, almost nothing. But ordinary paper has a way of surviving people who count on emotion to erase dates. Alma came back into the room. "There will be a formal renewal review Monday at 10, she said. "County Administration Room 214. The coordinator appointment is paused. Anyone with relevant records should bring them." My mother turned to me then. Her voice was low and bright with warning. "Do not humiliate this family." I looked at the photo of Dot on the poster. "Which part would do that?" She flinched. Not because I was cruel, because the question was too plain. The weekend between the brunch and the review was the longest 2 days I had lived through since Dot died. I stayed at Leona's house because she insisted, and because the thought of driving back to Roanoke and returning Monday felt worse than sleeping under her crocheted guest room blanket. Leona made chicken soup in a pot big enough for 12 people. She gave me iced tea in a glass with tulips on it. She did not ask me how I felt every 5 minutes. That was one of the reasons I loved her. At 3:00 that afternoon, she put her kitchen calendar on the table and said, "We should make copies." I almost laughed. "You have a copier." "I have a grandson with a scanner and a fear of me." Her grandson Aaron arrived at 4:30 with a portable scanner, a laptop, and the expression of a man who knew better than to ask too many questions. We scanned 18 months of calendar pages. It was not just Dot's appointments. It was everything around them. Who brought soup? Who left mail? Who sat with her during storms? Who called from the driveway but did not come in? Who borrowed the folding table and never returned it? Kendra appeared on the calendar 11 times in 14 months. I appeared 96 times. Leona appeared almost every other day. My mother appeared on Sundays, mostly between 2:00 and 3:15, which lined up with the time she could be seen by neighbors after church. I did not say that out loud. Leona did. "Marla always liked an audience," she said. The second proof came from Garner's drugs. The pharmacist, Mr. Patel, remembered Dot because she called him "young man," even though he was 58. He could not give me medical details over the phone, but he could confirm pickup signatures if the county requested them, and he told me something I had not known. "There was an authorization change in June," he said. "Your name was removed from the call list. I remember because Mrs. Vale complained the next week that you did not know about her refill." My hand tightened around the phone. Who removed me? I should not say without the form in front of the proper reviewer. He paused. "But you should ask for the form." The third proof came from work. I did not want to pull transit records into family pain. That was exactly the kind of thing my mother accused me of. But the Senior Wheels van ran through the county's shared scheduling platform, and every missed pickup, substituted driver, and volunteer escort note had a timestamp. I could not access private writer medical details. I did not need to. The system showed ride numbers, pickup windows, companion names, and exception notes. Dot's writer file had been edited 5 times in the last month of her life. The companion field changed from Maya Vale to family managed. Then from family managed to Kendra Vale. Then to no outside contact, daughter request. That phrase sat on the screen like a closed door. No outside contact. I printed only what policy allowed. Then I called my supervisor, Denise Hall, and told her exactly what had happened. Denise was quiet for a long moment. "Maya," she said, "do you want me there Monday?" "I don't want to drag transit into this. Senior Wheels uses our platform. If someone changed a contact field to block a rider's chosen escort, that is not family drama." There it was. The line I had needed someone else to say. Not family drama. The fourth proof found me by accident. On Sunday morning, Leona took me to church because she said sitting still with strangers might be better than pacing holes into her rug. After service, Mrs. Daly from the library came up to us near the fellowship coffee. She looked nervous. Maya, I didn't know whether to say anything. That sentence usually means the person has known exactly what to say for a long time and finally found a reason. She opened her purse and pulled out a folded copy of a program from the library's oral history night. 2 months before Dot died, the library had recorded elder interviews for a county heritage project. Dot was scheduled for a 20-minute interview about the first senior wheels van. Your grandmother came in with Leona, Mrs. Daly said. She asked if we could save a chair for you. She said you had a route planning meeting but would try to come late. I remembered that night. My mother called me at 5:40 and said Dot was too tired for visitors. She said the oral history event had been canceled. It had not. Mrs. Daly's eyes filled. Your mother arrived before the recording. She told Dorothy you had called and said not to wait. The fellowship hall went quiet around me. Not because everyone heard, because my body did. For 11 months, I had believed Dot died thinking I stopped coming. Now there was a tape where she had saved me a chair. Mrs. Daly touched my sleeve. The recording is archived. I can bring it Monday if the county asks. Leona said, they will ask. That was the midpoint for me. Not the payroll report, not the contact change, not the pharmacy form. The chair. They had not only lied after Dot died, they had lied while she was waiting. That was when I stopped thinking of the brunch as an ugly family performance. It had become a record of access. Who got to reach an old woman? Who got paid for saying they did? Who got erased so the story would balance? Sunday night, my mother called 14 times. I did not answer. At 9:18, she left a voicemail. Maya, this has gone far enough. Your sister is trying to do good work. If you punish her over old resentment, you will prove exactly why I had to manage things. Care is not a punch clock. It is grace. Do not make me protect your grandmother's memory from you again. I saved the voicemail. If you know someone who has had their work erased and then called petty for proving it, share this with them and subscribe, because the next part is where the quiet records finally walk into the room. Then I sat on Leona's porch in the dark and listened to crickets and far-off highway noise. Leona came out with 2 mugs of tea. She called you. 14 times. She always did think repetition made a thing true. I laughed then. Not because anything was funny, because Leona said it so dryly that my body needed to let something out. She sat beside me. Dorothy knew Maya. I stared at the yard. Knew what? That you were being blocked. My throat closed. Leona took a folded envelope from her cardigan pocket and put it on my knee. She asked me not to give you this until you stopped blaming yourself. The envelope had my name on it in Dot's slanted handwriting. Maya. I did not open it right away. I held it for a long time. Inside was a half sheet of yellow legal paper. My dear girl, if they are telling you I asked for quiet, ask who benefits from you being quiet. You showed up. I know it. Leona knows it. The calendar knows it. One day they will learn that love can be gentle and still keep records. There was more, but that was the line that entered my bones. Love can be gentle and still keep records. I slept 3 hours that night. Monday morning, County Administration Room 214 smelled like printer toner and burnt coffee. It was not a courtroom. It was worse for my mother because it was ordinary, fluorescent lights, stacking chairs, a long table with a scratched edge, a wall clock that clicked too loudly. Ordinary rooms are where lies often die because they have no music to hide behind. Alma Ortiz sat at one end with a binder. Ben Ito sat beside her with the payroll file. Denise Hall from Transit came in with a tablet and a policy folder. Mr. Patel from Garner's Drugs arrived with a sealed envelope. Mrs. Daly carried the library archive laptop in a canvas bag. Leona sat next to me. My mother arrived at 9:58 with Glenn and Kendra. Kendra wore a black blazer and the yellow badge again. That was a mistake. Alma saw it and looked down at her notes. The County Aging Services Director, Elaine Brooks, came in last. She was small, gray-haired, and had the calm expression of someone who had ended bigger arguments than this before breakfast. "This is not a family mediation," Elaine said before anyone sat. "This is a renewal and eligibility review for a county-funded position, volunteer hour report, and stipend reimbursement history tied to the Senior Wheels Companion Program. We will stay with records." My mother opened her mouth. Elaine looked at her. "Mrs. Vale, happy belated birthday. Please sit." My mother sat. That was the first visible consequence. Not official, not final, but visible. She was used to rooms bending toward her hurt feelings. This one did not. Elaine started with Kendra's coordinator packet. The packet claimed 612 volunteer companion hours over 14 months, most of them tied to Dorothy Vale's care and Senior Wheels escort service. It claimed Kendra had managed appointment coordination, medication pickups, meal delivery, and home check-ins. It included a short essay about honoring her grandmother through service. I had not read the essay. Elaine had. "Ms. Vale," she said to Kendra, "your packet says, 'I learned that care is not a punch clock.'" Kendra nodded carefully. "Yes, I meant that true care is about heart." Ben Ito slid one page forward. "The county pays companion stipends by documented hour." No one spoke. "So today," Ben said, "care is also a punch clock." Leona lowered her eyes. I think she was hiding a smile. The first record was the volunteer hour ledger. Ben pointed to 11 dates where Kendra claimed 4 or more hours with Dot. Denise opened the transit platform and showed ride exceptions for the same dates. On March 8, the system showed a missed van connection, a complaint call from Maya Vale, and a same-day private transport note. Leona's calendar showed Maya took Dot, Kendra Beach. Kendra said, "I was coordinating by phone." Ben asked, "From Myrtle Beach?" Kendra looked at my mother. My mother said, "Families divide work." Elaine said, "That may be true. It does not make the claimed escort hours true." The second record was the pharmacy envelope. Mr. Patel confirmed pickup signatures from 4 key dates. Mine appeared on 3, Leona's appeared on 1, Kendra's appeared on none. Then he produced the authorization change form. It removed my number and added Kendra's. The signature line said Dorothy Vale. But Dot's name was spelled Dorothea. Dot hated that. Her legal name was Dorothy, not Dorothea. She had corrected people about it for 81 years. Mr. Patel said, "That spelling is why my technician flagged it. We accepted it because a family member brought it in and the account was not locked, but the note remained in the file." Elaine asked, "Which family member?" Mr. Patel looked at Kendra. "Ms. Kendra Vale." Kendra's mouth opened, then closed. My mother said, "Dorothy's handwriting was poor near the end." Leona said, "Her spelling was not." That was the first time my mother would not look at Leona. The third record was the contact field change. Denise showed the audit trail from the shared scheduling platform. She did not show medical details. She did not need to. June 3, companion changed from Maya Vale to family managed. June 5, companion changed to Kendra Vale. June 8, note added, no outside contact daughter request. Elaine turned to my mother. "Were you the daughter who made that request?" My mother folded her hands. I was trying to reduce stress. My mother was overwhelmed. Mrs. Daly whispered, "No." It was barely a word, but the room heard it. Elaine turned. "Mrs. Daly." The library director opened the laptop and played 42 seconds of Dot's oral history recording. Dot's voice came through the small speakers, thin but clear. Save that chair for Maya if she makes it. She knows more about roots than I do now, but don't tell her I said that. She'll get a big head. A few people smiled before they remembered why they were hearing it. Then another voice came from the recording, my mother's. Mama, Maya called. She said she can't come. Let's get you started. Dot said, she said that. My mother said, yes, she said work came first. The room changed. That is the only way I can describe it. Ben stopped writing. Alma put her hand flat on the table. Kendra looked at the badge on her chest. Leona closed her eyes. I sat very still because if I moved, I was afraid I would feel too much at once. Elaine stopped the recording. Ms. Vale, she said, did you call that evening? No. Do you have any record? I gave her the text my mother had sent me at 5:40. Dot too tired. Event canceled, don't come tonight. Elaine read it twice. Then she looked at my mother. Mrs. Vale, why did you tell your mother she chose work? My mother's face crumpled in a way I had seen fool rooms my entire life. You don't understand what caregiving does to a person. Elaine did not soften. Answer the question. My mother stared at the table. She made everything complicated. By coming. By counting. There it was. Not grief, not protection, counting. I had counted rides, pills, pickup windows, and missed calls because the details kept Dot safe. My mother had experienced those details as a threat because they made performance harder. The fourth record was money. That was the part I had not expected. Ben laid out the stipend history. Kendra had received $8,460 in companion reimbursements tied to hours that did not match ride records, pharmacy records, or Leona's calendar. Some claims overlapped with credit card travel receipts that Kendra had submitted to her separate consulting job. 2 overlapped with social media posts from a lake weekend. Kendra said those were drafts. Then she said they were estimated. Then she said Mom filled out the early forms. Each answer made the last one worse. My mother said, the money stayed in the family. Elaine looked at her for a long second. It was county money. That sentence did more than any speech could have done. It took the word family out of the center of the table and replaced it with public funds. The fifth record was the annual report. Alma opened the Senior Wheels donor packet. The Vale family tribute page said Kendra's documented 600-hour care journey with Dorothy Vale, inspired the program's new companion coordinator role, and supported a $38,000 renewal grant from the Millbrook Community Foundation. My mother had signed the donor narrative as board liaison. Kendra had attached a photo of Dot in the red sweater beside the old van. I had seen that photo in the glass case for years. It was not theirs to use as proof of their service. Alma's voice shook when she said, Marla, this is the packet we used for the renewal luncheon. My mother whispered, it was a tribute. Alma said, it was an application. The difference landed hard. My stepfather Glenn had been quiet until then. He shifted in his chair and said, this is getting out of hand. Kendra may have made some paperwork mistakes, but Maya is enjoying this. I looked at him. No. One word, that was all I had. Leona put her hand over mine under the table. Elaine turned to Glenn. Mr. Vale, this review is not measuring Ms. Vale's enjoyment. It is measuring eligibility, reimbursement, and misrepresentation. Glenn leaned back. He did not speak again. Then the room did the thing witness rooms do when the truth becomes practical. People stopped reacting emotionally and started acting in roles. Ben marked the reimbursement file for recovery review. Alma paused the coordinator appointment and removed Kendra's access to the volunteer scheduling system. Denise filed a platform integrity report over the contact field change. Mr. Patel requested a lock on Dot's pharmacy authorization history so the form could not be quietly replaced. Mrs. Daly offered the full oral history recording to the county archive. Leona submitted copies of 18 calendar pages. My mother watched each action with a face that got smaller and harder. When Elaine reached the end, she folded her hands. Preliminary actions are as follows. The Care Companion Coordinator appointment is canceled pending a full recruitment restart. Kendra Vale's stipend file goes to Payroll Recovery and County Council. Senior Wheels must issue a corrected donor and renewal report within 30 days. Marla Vale is recused from all Senior Wheels board activity pending foundation review. Dorothy Vale's rider and archive files will be corrected to reflect verified companion history. Kendra started crying then. Not quiet tears, angry ones. So she wins. She pointed at me like I had come there for a trophy. Elaine answered before I could. No, the record wins. My mother stood. You all should be ashamed, she said. She looked at Leona, then Alma, then me. Dragging a dead woman's name through this. Leona rose slowly. Marla, you put Dorothy's name on the packet. My mother turned on her. You always liked Maya more. Leona's voice stayed calm. Dorothy did too. That was the only sharp thing Leona said all morning. It hit harder because she had earned it. My mother grabbed her purse. Kendra unclipped the yellow badge with shaking fingers and threw it on the table. The badge landed face up. DOROTHYV. The scratch on the corner caught the fluorescent light. For a second, nobody touched it. Then Alma picked it up and placed it beside the corrected file. That small movement did something to me. It gave the badge back to Dot. The official letters came later, but the room had already changed before we left. In the hallway, 3 people from the brunch were waiting because news travels fast in a small county building. Cal Rivers from the tire shop, Mrs. Daly's assistant, one of the foundation donors whose name I could not remember. They did not crowd me. Cal took off his cap. Maya, he said, I owe you an apology. I did not know what to do with that. So I said, thank you. He nodded and walked away. My mother saw it from the elevator. Her mouth tightened. That was another consequence, not the apology itself, the fact that she could not stop it. Kendra texted me that afternoon. You destroyed my career over old jealousy. I did not answer. Then she wrote, Grandma would hate this. I opened Dot's note and read the line again. Love can be gentle and still keep records. I still did not answer. There are messages that only exist to pull you back into a room where facts have already spoken. I was done entering that room. On Wednesday, the Millbrook Community Foundation posted a short notice saying Senior Wheels was correcting its renewal materials and that Marla Vale had stepped back from the review process. It did not say scandal. It did not say fraud. Public notices rarely use the words people want. But everyone in town knew what it meant. On Friday, Alma called me. Can you come by next week? For what? We are rebuilding the rider contact procedure. I want your transit brain for 1 hour. Unpaid. No family drama. That's a terrible sales pitch. It's honest. So I went. Not for my mother, not for Kendra, not to reclaim the town. I went because Dot helped start a van program so old people would not have to beg for rides, and I knew how to make contact fields harder to weaponize. Alma, Denise, Ben, Leona, and I sat in the same senior center where the brunch had fallen apart. We built a simple rule. Removing a companion contact from a rider file would now require either the rider's direct confirmation, medical documentation, or 2-staff review. Family request alone would not be enough. It sounded small. It was not small. Small rules are often where vulnerable people live or disappear. Before I left, Alma unlocked the glass case by the entrance. She took out the old red sweater photo of Dot and slid in a second card beneath it. Dorothy Vale, founding volunteer. Verified companion history, corrected June 2026. No drama, no speech, just a corrected line under the picture. The practical receipt arrived 12 days after the review. It was a county letter on plain white paper. It confirmed that my name had been restored to Dot's Senior Wheels companion history, that the false no-contact note had been removed from the archive file, and that Kendra's claimed hours were under recovery review. A second page cleared me from any allegation of abandonment or unauthorized interference in Dot's care records. No one can give you back the days a lie took. But a corrected record can stop the lie from eating another year. The emotional receipt came that same afternoon. Leona called and told me to meet her at the senior center at 4:00. When I arrived, the old Senior Wheels van was parked by the curb. Alma stood beside it with the keys. Leona was on the sidewalk holding Dot's blue canvas pouch. "We found something in storage," Alma said. She handed me a small magnetic route marker. It was faded blue, with white letters Dot had written in permanent marker years ago. 640 Dot's porch first. I remembered it immediately. The drivers used to stick it on the dashboard during winter because Dot liked the first pickup slot when the roads were bad. She said old knees should not have to wait in sleet. Alma placed the magnet on the van's dashboard. Leona climbed into the first seat behind the driver. "I have a doctor's appointment," she said, "and I expect this county to move." For the first time in almost a year, I laughed without feeling it catch. The driver closed the door. The van pulled away from the curb. The blue magnet was visible through the windshield for half a second, then the van turned toward Maple Street. Dot was not in that seat. I knew that. But the route remembered her correctly. That mattered more than I can explain without making it sound smaller than it was. My mother never apologized. Kendra did not either. The recovery review took months. The foundation restarted the coordinator search without her. The senior center stopped using the Vale family tribute page. My mother's birthday brunch became one of those town stories people refer to carefully, in lowered voices, with phrases like, "after what happened with the records." I did not enjoy that. I did not hate it either. I let it be what it was. A public correction. 3 months later, Mrs. Daly invited me to the library for the release of the Elder Oral History Archive. I almost said no. Then Leona told me Dot would haunt me for wasting a good archive night, so I went. There were cookies, folding chairs, and a little listening station with headphones. Dot's recording was number 14. I put on the headphones and heard her voice again. Not the clipped 42 seconds from the review, the full recording. She talked about the first van. She talked about ham plates and winter rides and why seniors lie about needing help because they are afraid help will turn into control. She talked about how a ride is not charity if the person has earned their place in the community. Near the end, Mrs. Daly asked her what made the program work. Dot said, "People who show up when no one is clapping." Then she laughed and said, "My Maya is one of those." I sat in the library with headphones on and cried quietly enough that no one had to pretend not to see. Leona sat beside me and patted my knee once. That was all. The next week, I took Dot's blue pouch to my office. I did not put it in a drawer. I hung it on the wall beside my route maps. Inside it, I kept the county correction letter, the pharmacy receipt, the copied calendar page from March 8, and Dot's note. People at work asked about it sometimes. I told them it belonged to my grandmother. That was enough. On cold mornings, when a writer's complaint came through because a van was 9 minutes late, I thought about Dot saying every stop was somebody's whole morning. I still fixed the schedule. I still counted the minutes. I still believed minutes mattered. My family had tried to make counting sound cold because counting exposed them. But a pill picked up on time is not cold. A ride that arrives before a storm is not cold. A calendar that proves an old woman was not alone is not cold. A corrected contact field that keeps another family from locking someone out of help is not cold. That is care. And care may not be only a punch clock. But when someone tries to steal it, the clock can tell the truth. The last time I saw my mother was at the grocery store in October. She was in the cereal aisle, holding a box of Raisin Bran and looking smaller than I remembered. She saw me first. For a second, she looked like she might speak. Then she looked away. I did not chase her. Some people want forgiveness because it would erase the record. I was not interested in erasing anything. If she ever wanted to tell the truth without an audience, she knew where I worked. She knew my number had never changed. But the terms were different now. I was not the daughter who left. I was not the woman too busy to care. I was not the problem because I knew the dates. I was the granddaughter trusted with the route. That was the version written down. That was the version Leona saw. That was the version the county corrected. And on the first icy morning of the next winter, when Senior Wheels updated its emergency pickup list, Alma sent me a photo from inside the van. The blue magnet was on the dashboard. 640 porch first. Under it, someone had taped a new note in Alma's block handwriting. Respect the stop. I saved the photo on my phone. Then I went back to work and adjusted 3 routes before lunch. No speech, no victory lap, no family meeting. Just the county moving the right way, one corrected stop at a time.